So that was a good way to start. We're weird.
Oh, well, that's appropriate.
And I'm just going to sit in silence for a little bit.
Yeah, I can't. So I guess this is the first time I've been like a guest on Stream Duck.
Yeah, you can't see the chat unless you open it in another page or device. Okay. Sorry. Wah, wah. But I can shout out the chat. People here early, ready to rock. I see Comic Jabroni about an hour before the show started dropping the CTT in the chat. Perry Comics lurking. Old Wolf is in there. Borican Comics is in there. TJ, I think John is having a blast on the core. Probably going to be late. And you are right. That was said 10 minutes ago, and you are 10 minutes correct. Ricky is in the chat. Hello, sir. He's watching the Comic Core as well. Let's see here. Old Wolf Perry, today at work, we had an early network downtime. I've been you since 1:30 this morning. Ouch. Lurking, late night lurking. That's hardcore living. Let's see here. Boy Who Had 7, thanks for coming over and tailgating. Much appreciated. The video will be starting soon, you know, even though it's now, and it's actually, it's now. This is now. This is live now. Good to see. Good. Had my new will notarized today. Oh, geez. Are you leaving everything to this guy and this guy? Mr. Gerald's in the chat. Alec didn't find that as funny as I did. Jack Yo and Chris Barrett, as always, hanging out. Thanks for naming me the executor again, says Chris Barrett. So if you haven't noticed, we are missing a third person. Shout out to Just a Rican and his comics. The Rod is off tonight. He had to get his eyes checked, and that has made it very difficult to both read and, of course, be on YouTube. So we wish him a quick recovery, and we will make it up to him and have him in here again. I jokingly told him, hey, Comic Books NYC had to miss an episode, and we've had that guy on twice since then. So, you know, he's in good company now.
Yeah, that's true facts.
And that's it. That's it. And Alec is it's all he's got.
I'm a man of few words.
That's hardly ever been the case. So, yeah, Rod is Daredevil. He's lost his glasses again. Shout out to Rod. We do miss him, and we will get him on the show. It will happen. He's a big Image and indie fan, so this was going to be a perfect setup for him. But for those that don't know, we are reading Reaver.
This was a setup for him?
1 and 2. Setup, meaning like
what were we setting him up for?
In his wheelhouse.
Oh.
It's exactly what he would love to talk about. Instead of forcing him to read something, he's like, I don't know that I love that book. Like making Sam, if we had ever made Sam read a DC book or something, it would have been unfair. So how you doing, Alec? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, it's been a minute. I think I forgot how to do this.
You're like, it's usually there's a third person to kind of like keep this all moving.
It's a buffer.
So for me, like I will say, when it first came to Reaver, I did not buy it on the new comic book day. The book like spiked. It got like crazy hot, right? Hot lists and all this. And then I went comic hunting with D. Runk in San Diego. We were looking for a good shop. We didn't find many. And then we, at this one shop, there was a stack of these, like 10 of them at least. And I was like, well, we should just buy one. So he and I both bought one because we're like, it's a hot book. It's supposed to be good to read. So that's how I first came across Reaver. And then obviously today, issue 2 dropped, as well as a reprint of issue 1. So if you watch this and you decide, hey, I want to check this out, your LCS might still have reprints of issue 1. Is that the second print?
Yeah, if my light will behave. It's Becky Cloonan. Really cool cover.
It is a cool cover. I love the color work. And then issue 2, of course, would be the one that goes right along with it.
Oh, we were supposed to read both? I did. I was kidding. It's
all right. I'll just kick you off of here, and then Rod can come later on.
No, I read both.
So it looks like we've got Perry's now joined by Jabroni in the chat, having a good time. Jeffrey Comic-Con, thank you for coming out, brother. Good to see you in there. People shouting out other books they picked up this week.
Yeah, Comic Jeroni said White Trees was good, but there were some definite risque pages. We should have read that, man.
It seems to be fitting with our, what is it, Faithless breakdown.
Yeah, I loved that episode. That was so much fun.
That was a blast. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if Alec does this, but I've got the playlist for all of our book club episodes, and you can go back and find them all if you're, really looking forward to flipping back to how this all began way back in the day. You can see all the episodes. They're all in my playlist there. You can check it out.
Yeah, I was being really good about updating mine for a while, and then I
got you right here. So playlist.
Yeah, so check out John's channel because he knows how to do better
book club. It's right there. He got to 1,000. And he's like, what do I need? I don't need to do this anymore. Money's coming in now. He's got a revenue stream and everything.
I'm up to like $1.12.
See, get a taco.
Well, I have to get $100 before they even cut me a check.
Bogus. Then you get 100 tacos. DS Comics, thank you for coming by, brother. Much appreciated. So I will say right off the bat, what had me interested in this comic was that it was fantasy based. Like I'm a big fantasy book guy. I'm a super nerd, Dungeons and Dragons, you name it, Lord of the Rings. So that was like the first hook that like I was interested for me. I don't know how you feel about fantasy as a genre.
Yeah, I'm a big fantasy fan. Like Lord of the Rings clearly is maybe not clearly. Some people don't like it for some reason. I don't know about that, but yeah, Lord of the Rings has always been like a big influence for me. Dungeons and Dragons, like you said. So fantasy is right up my alley as well. And then
Boyhood 7 shouted out Harry Potter as well, and yeah, those are big ones for me. I will say I did as an adult. I read Lord of the Rings. I tried reading it when I was a kid, and as I got older, I read it again, and I still really loved it. But I appreciated what George Martin was saying about it not really feeling like a universe where people ever used the bathroom or had lust. There was very little of the like.
Harry Potter?
No, Lord of the Rings. There was very little of the like real raw human experience in Lord of the Rings. It was very, fantastical, and so that's what I appreciated about his version of.
There also weren't any women in there.
Yeah, well, just that there was really just it felt more true to life and not so fantastical, and that's kind of what I'm getting from Reaver a little bit. Is there are definitely elements of the graphic violence, the language, the classic image elements.
Yeah, it definitely was like felt like a more true, gritty.
I made you read. Sorry, I was not trying to make you.
No, that's all right. No, it's something I've always said. Like Gandalf is a huckster.
He absolutely is.
He has no magical abilities.
It's worse in the books than the movies too.
Yeah,
he just like disappears. He's just gone.
He's just a guy who like knows how to stand in front of the sun and shoot fireworks. Like he's not a wizard.
Shocking twist. Perry never seen Lord of the Rings. We'll just add it to the list, buddy. Just add it to the list.
But Return of the King is a great movie. I don't care.
Yes, that's the most overrated wizard. Hey, preach, brother.
So yeah, it definitely felt like mud on the shoes type world.
Yeah. So I know that there was a lot of the main criticism I remember hearing for issue 1 was that people loved this cover and felt like the interior art wasn't on par with this.
True facts.
Is that how you felt about it as well?
Absolutely. In fact, when this book first came out, I have a first print of number 1. I was just showing off the second print. So I have to brag about my collection all the time. I looked at it and I knew it was kind of a hyped up book, and I looked at it and I'm like, oh, this book's kind of ugly, and I didn't end up buying it on new release day, and then it spiked, and then I found it at cover price, and I was like, well, I guess I'll buy it because I'm a sucker. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Is it even the same artist? Because if it is,
no, it's not, as far as I'm aware of. Cover artist is Becky Cloonan.
Oh, she did the regular cover too.
Oh, actually, no. That's what she did. Becky Cloonan did the cover, and Rebecca did the variant cover. So there's a Becky and a Rebecca, which could be very confusing. So the interior art is a woman named Rebecca Isaacs, and she did the variant of issue 1. And I'm not sure if this is the variant or not.
So that's probably why I liked the cover. I mean, I knew she did the second print. I love Becky Cloonan's artwork, so that makes sense why I like that cover so much.
There you go.
But
Okay.
I feel like not only was that art better, but like the representation of the character. And like
just this one character?
Yeah, like I saw that character on the cover and I'm like, oh, this character looks interesting. And then you see her on the inside and you're like, oh, it's just like, I mean, I hate to say that because I feel, for me, to jump ahead a little bit, the characters are the most interesting part of this for me. I felt
this is the character you're talking about. Let's see where I lost her. There she is. This character on the inside with the pink hair.
Like a cheesy, like, child person. I don't know.
And that's the same character here on the front, where she looks almost like, I don't know, like something from the Irish Moors or something. You know, she looks very mysterious here, and on the inside, she just seems like a punk goth kid.
Yeah, she looks like a Hot Topic kid.
That's a great. Sorry, that's a way better description, as usual. Better words.
Yeah, don't disparage corpse paint like that. Comics Explain. That's not even.
Corpse paint. The cover reminded me of a Harley Poison Ivy kind of feel, says Perry. I don't know that seems mean. For me, it felt more like Die versus the inside felt more like a Poison Ivy Harley Quinn thing. That would be my personal. But maybe that's a burn on Poison Ivy.
Leave my girl alone.
It's more the fact that I feel like they put really crap artists on those interior artwork for Poison Ivy and Harley stories.
I wouldn't say this art was like really crap.
I don't either.
But it's just like, I don't know.
It was uneven by comparison.
Yes. But I mean, isn't that kind of like how a lot of comics are these days?
It's the state of modern comics for sure.
Putting great art on covers and having okay art or bad art on the inside.
So for those that don't know, the synopsis of the story here is fantasy world, warring nations, a group of sort of ragtag criminals bound together in a sort of Dirty Dozen manner to do a suicide mission. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah. May I use a word to describe the plot?
Do it.
Uninspired.
I will say I am a big fan of the Dirty Dozen. I think it's a really entertaining and good movie. So there was taking a little bit of that and mixing it with a little bit of fantasy. I was on board with the general idea. I don't know that it lived up to what my hopes were for that.
Yeah, but I mean that's exactly what I mean. It's like you can directly point to something else and say, "Oh, this is exactly this." So like I didn't. Having said that, I didn't hate it. But it's just like, you can do better.
So issue 1 is really like they get together and they set out on the quest versus issue 2 is like on the journey and trouble arises. That's basically it. That's issues 1 and 2. There's like nothing more to it.
And I will congratulate this comic on one thing that I oftentimes Comics Explained it. REAVER trade quote cover, uninspired, White Whale Comics. That's like almost a compliment for me. It's like those guys who say like, well, I didn't hate it. And that's like, ooh, that's high praise. It's like New Comic Book Day Book Club said it was uninspired. It's like, that's pretty good.
that's high praise.
They didn't say it was a dumpster fire. So.
Right? Less than one dumpster fire.
Where was I going with that? Oh, like
you had a compliment.
The pace of the first issue was fine. Like often they try to jam so much into a single issue, but I felt like, okay, this is paced reasonably where I'm like not feeling like you're trying to give me too much just to set up a story. Having said that, it was very much like here's this character and now here's this character and let me introduce this character.
Yeah, and I would, again, making another movie reference, it reminded me a lot of the jail sequence from The Usual Suspects, where all the criminals are like in the cell together and they just start talking and you get to know. Whereas I felt like obviously in Usual Suspects, like the writing was stronger. You got like, it was very funny and like silly, the banter between them all. It wasn't exposition in any way. It was just ridiculous, like Benicio del Toro trying to talk, and you're like, I don't know what the heck this guy is saying. It's just ridiculous and funny. Versus this, where it was like, okay, occasionally you're on the exposition level.
Yeah, I would take it one step further and say it was more like Can't Hardly Wait,
Ooh.
where it like zoomed in on the like they're like, and here's this guy, and like it zooms out on a picture of him, and it's like gives you their breakdown while some '90s music plays.
Oh, I do love the references to the 90s. Because the one thing that bugs me a little bit about the exposition in both books, or at least the way the characters talk in both books, is they all sound like they are Hot Topic employees. Like they don't necessarily sound like they're from a fantasy world where they have like different languages and styles of speech. They all seem to talk with this, like, they use the word like. They use the word like we would use the word like.
And I guess like the guy who I would consider the main character, I guess, the dark-haired guy, he's always just like, well, geez, I don't know, guys, what about, this isn't such a good idea, guys.
Now there's one, sorry, go ahead. Yeah. There's one guy, Comics Misexplained, shouting out respect for Die, which is another fantasy comic from Image right now, and obviously the superior one. And I will say I liked issue 1 of Reaver enough that when Alec and was coming up with ideas for this week, I was like, yeah, I liked issue 1 enough that I would be willing to read an issue 2. It was, if we had done it for book club, I would have said, yeah, I'd be interested in issue 2.
Yeah, I really boffed it, because I'm going to jump ahead to the discussion a little bit and say that this is the book we should have read
once in the future.
And I didn't pick it because it's Kieran Gillen who did Die, and I didn't want to be like, oh, we're the Die show.
No, we're the good writer show, so that really shouldn't play into it.
This, for me, 10 out of 10.
Ooh, maybe I got to call my LCS and tell them to pull one for me.
Yeah. Really, really good. Anyone else read it in the chat? I don't know.
So Old Wolf is already
Crisis Back Girl.
Old Wolf's like, I'm just gonna bag it. I'm not gonna crack it open.
No, listen, it's not bad.
It's definitely better than a lot of the stuff that we've done from Image. I liked issue 1 enough to read issue 2. The ideas are still consistent through issue 2. And I wanted to shout out a character that I really liked, and I'm sorry that I don't know his name, but it's this. There's a lot of characters. This guy is written, in my opinion, in such a way that I hear. It's one of the few characters where I actually hear a voice and I hear an accent when he speaks. I hear Tom Hiddleston's Loki the entire time.
I can see that.
He's got this British kind of way of speaking. He's very hoity-toity, doesn't want to get his hands dirty, but he's devious, he's sinister. There's a great, if you like the character of Loki, I think you would appreciate this character in the comic, because he does give it a real Loki vibe.
Yeah, I can see that. Going back to what Old Wolf said, this and something you said in reference to that is, I would put this like head and shoulders over Sonata.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Sonata was not a dumpster fire, but just a straight, I don't want to read anymore.
Yeah. Whereas this, like, I probably won't pick up issue 3, but I was happy to have issue 2 and like read that. Like, I didn't finish issue 1 and say, oh my God, I have to read issue 2 now for the stupid show we do tonight. I just, I feel the need to bring, I don't know, like, I feel like such a jerk, but like, I feel the need to criticize things because people need to know what is.
That's the point of this show. I think you need to, like, Alec is really hard on himself. The anti-joy equation thing is funny, but also, there's that it cuts both ways. The point of this show is honesty. The point of this show is we read this book. We were giving this book an honest chance. This is how we feel about it. So we're going to give you positives and negatives. I felt like that Hot Topic girl with the pink hair isn't written as well as I would hope, as certainly not as interesting as this one image makes her be.
Yeah.
Versus I'm very entertained by this guy, and he gets a big part in issue 2. And when he's talking, I'm far more interested, and I'm happy to let the other characters stop talking.
And like I've certainly like glowed about certain books that I really liked. Like I'm not just here to dump on things, but I feel like it always seems like I hate everything just because I'm like critical of it. But like pointing out the way things can be better is not necessarily mean that I hate it. Like what was it? The last book we did it was a couple books ago where like I was dumping all over it and you thought I hated it. I'm like, no, it's like a B-.
You're like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy crap, this is an 8?
That's Sea of Stars, maybe? I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but
it might have been. Which I grabbed issue 2 and I enjoyed.
Yeah. I didn't, but that's okay.
So yeah, the point is that we're going to highlight. Oh Jesus, when did that happen?
Because you were saying that he's making a jump. That you were saying that like this woman isn't interesting.
She's not. I'm sorry. I'm way more interested in the old witch lady.
That's the jokes. It's a Fox News headline, and they take things out of context.
Right. The old witch lady, I think, is way more interesting than the way they're writing that other chick.
That's funny you should say that because the old witch is a guy. He has a beard. And I only noticed that like at first, for like the first 10 pages, I was like, oh, that's a lady. But then there's a panel where it's like, oh, it's got a beard.
Let me double check this. I'm not saying I'm wrong. I'm just saying, yeah, okay, I get you. I see him.
But going back to the issues with the artwork is that we both thought it was a woman at first.
That's a beard. Right there. And that's the one I'm talking about. He's the Obi-Wan sort of character. Makes the crazy pink smoke happen.
Yeah, which that was like another weird thing where it was like, oh, watch out, like I'm gonna do this thing and they're all gonna run away, but they ran away because they killed the general, whatever. Like,
let's give everybody credit.
You have to earn credit in my book.
Does it also have a bulge? Okay, whoa, pump the brakes, Chris. Jason, he lives in a house with 3 women, so it could be repressed. Hey, yeah, this is the legit. You don't know. You don't know unless you've lived it. Unless you've lived it, you don't know.
It could be an old woman facial hair. That does happen. Yeah, it was just a little too well groomed and like style.
Well, and I think
like if you're gonna draw an old woman facial hair, it's like wispy and kind of.
Alex's first compliment for the book was the best part about it is the character stuff. And I think that the flaw is the characters don't sound different from one another enough yet. There is, for me at least, there's this similarity to when they're speaking, I don't hear different voices. And for me, I'm of the fantasy reader brain where I expect all these cultures, all these people, I expect their voices to be dissimilar. I don't expect them all to sound the same. And it's fine if one guy has that, he uses the word like a lot or whatever, or even the F word, like whatever it is, it's very modern-y. And I was hoping for a few characters that maybe felt like they were from different regions and had a different dialect.
Like
does that make sense?
Speaks more properly.
Well, just enough that I could hear. Yeah, I want to hear a voice when they speak. So clearly, the wizard guy, I was hearing, a witch from like, Howl's Moving Castle or something. Like I was hearing a Miyazaki witch female character when that was not right.
Maybe someone could enunciate their T's a lot.
I've got the break lines. There's no pumping at this point. Oh my goodness. John's Comics Gate with Kids. Jeez. Oh my God. It could be an old, yeah. So I would say for me, what I liked about issue 2 is that they upped the action, right? Issue 1 is a setup. You're meeting the characters. Like Alec is saying, there's even this like Guy Ritchie like editing, 90s editing quality where it's like smash cut to this guy, smash cut to this guy, learn a little bit about them, then jump back to where they're all getting together. Whereas
could you imagine if Guy Ritchie directed Can't Hardly Wait?
I would totally watch that movie. Is there something wrong with me that I would watch that movie?
I would 100% watch that movie. Get that Kickstarter going.
I will say
Spirited Away is the best of the Ghibli films.
I will disagree politely. I do like Spirited Away. I am a big Totoro fan.
Yeah, sure.
And it may just be that I've watched that one more because my girls like it the most.
Totoro is amazing. It is an all-time absolute classic, but it is, I feel like there's less to it. I think Spirited Away
totally simple. I agree.
Better film. Like it is meatier, I guess is the word.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And
I could make an argument for Mononoke as well, but
I'm a big Howl's Moving Castle fan. I do like that one a lot. As far as the visual side of it, I think that visual, the dirigibles and everything, I just dig all that crap.
Baron says Totoro is his favorite 80s band. That's very funny.
Boo.
No, that's pretty
Mom is in the chat. Thank you for coming. And Gray Matter Hulk, I appreciate you guys coming by. Ooh, look, I love how educated our group is. How many different Miyazaki films are being referenced? How many comic book chats do you think you could jump in and have that many Miyazaki movies shouted out?
Only Book Club.
Right?
Nazca's great, but for me, it just felt condensed. Because like the manga is so vast. Jesus.
I'm trying to remember the mermaid one. What is that one? With the little girl who's like
Ponyo.
Was it?
Ponyo.
That one I hate. I'm sorry.
The one I really hated was The Wind Also Rises, or whatever it's called.
I haven't seen that one. Okay, I will skip that one.
Oof.
The problem I've got with Ponyo is there are several moments when characters are acting absolutely moronic that you're just like, there's no logic to like the parents who are just like, yeah, go play. That's real dangerous. Go do that. Like there's lots of moments where you're just like, okay, come on. Like let's just make normal human decisions, not like story decisions.
I'm gonna drop a little bit of Porco Rosso. How about that one?
Ooh. The best tripping movie ever, DS comic is Token Watch. So we're
talking about a comic book.
Yeah. How about let's do a quick do you like issue 1 better or issue 2 better?
I guess I liked issue 2 better.
And for me, I will say I think I liked issue 2 better as well because it's more streamlined and more it's less of the jumping around this character, that character. It's more like now they're all together. Let's see how they interact. Like a chemistry experiment or something.
Right. And maybe that's why I liked issue 2 better, because it felt like, okay, now we're telling a story instead of just like, here's a bunch of characters.
And I still think the universe, the characters, and the idea have room to grow here. I like the possibilities. I was just hoping that issue 2 would iron out what I didn't love writing-wise from issue 1, and I don't think they've done it yet.
Sorry, I missed that. I was reading Miss Explain's comment about how we're talking about hardcore Ponyo.
Not really paying attention. You're not paying attention to us?
Me? No.
God. I was talking about Jason there. Whatever. I felt like with issue 2, I was really hopeful that any of the things that sometimes you read in issue 2 and it's like, wow, they figured out the things that weren't working. They've built on what was working and it's better now. We did Daredevil Zdarsky issue 1. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to read issue 2. I wish I had, because issue 2, 3, they kept getting better.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is happening quite here yet.
How would you know if you didn't read it?
I did read issue. What are you talking about?
You said, I wish I had read it.
I wish I had continued to pick it up then. I had to go back and buy them. I've since caught up on the Zdarsky Daredevil. I wish I just put it on my pull list and kept going with it. Whereas this one, I don't know if I see enough growth.
Yeah, it's like I don't care about the characters like enough to know that they succeeded on their journey, and I think that's important.
Yeah, we're not in. I don't feel invested enough in their success or failure.
Like each one of them has had kind of these interesting little moments where, like when the girl sneaks out the window and they're like, obviously she's going to kill all the guards, but there's still a cool little moment where they're like, oh, there's no way she's not going to be able to break her neck and do it. Like, and that's another complaint I have. Is like, yeah, we get it. Like, you don't need to tell us that in the text. Like, we get that she. Like that could have been an interesting moment for the characters to like interact in a different way while she's killing all these guys. And you just hear like sound effects, and then she's like, "Okay, let's go," and you're like, "Oh, she's pretty badass." Not like, "Oh, do you think she's going to be able to do this thing that we know she's going to do?"
How about this too? This might be a great comic. We might be literally doing story comic core right now, where it's like, I feel like the story was really close with just a couple of tweaks. It could have been something that was surprising and made me interested. For example, how would you have felt if this issue, like halfway through, old wizard guy takes an axe to the face and he's just done?
Yeah.
Like I would have been like leaning forward going, oh, damn, this just got real. Like Obi-Wan Kenobi just got it in issue 2.
Right. And then how they're going to get their antidote.
Yeah.
Now they're on a timetable.
The fight sequence didn't have stakes because I didn't know where the writers were going to go with it. Like it felt like very much like, are they going to really risk this, or is it just going to be a filler kind of thing? If they had really bumped the stakes up in this issue, I would have leaned in and probably been like, okay, I got to know where it's going to go from here. You know, Dirty Dozen style where, you know what? We're probably not going to make it out of this.
You know what this was? I just figured it out. This was a lighter and worse version of Seven to Eternity.
I'm sorry to say I've never read that.
It's quite good. But it didn't push that further enough.
Totally.
It should have, it doesn't have enough identity. Like it wasn't funny enough to be a funny book, but it wasn't serious enough to be a serious book.
Yeah. And I think that I was just really hoping for them to make a bold, hardcore decision here. And it didn't need to, I wouldn't have wanted it to be like old wizard guy dies on the last page. I would have wanted him to die right at the beginning of the fight. And then it was like, yeah.
At the end of issue 2, the character that's on that cover, who is being referenced as being a child murderer often, goes after a child, and you are set up to think that he killed the child. But too bad it's drawn on the same page, the reveal that they didn't kill the child. He just stole her bag with nothing in it. Or is there something in it that he's keeping for himself? I don't know.
Or is there a reason he let her go? I understand that they were setting up a little, mystery, but the mystery that they set up was not as interesting as what they could have done with it.
Yes. You know, it would have been more interesting if he killed the child.
And even the little girl, like being a cannibal, felt tame. Did you notice that? Like I was like, okay, she's eating that guy. Whatever.
Because the coolest part of the whole thing was like a word bubble inside of a bigger panel where she's like, I now have your memories and I have your, like, basically saying like, I've taken over your soul by eating you. Like, if she had done that while like munching on the dude's neck and it had been like an awesome splash page, and then she turned and had the blood all over her face.
And just the visual of what was happening to her mentally, not necessarily saying it.
Yes.
Show, not tell, the most important writing idea.
Oh, I got to write that one down.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, show us something. Don't tell us that it's happening. So in this case, they were telling us her beliefs about cannibalism being valuable to her understanding of her enemies instead of just showing us, which would have been cool if it was like, this spiritual reaction that she was having. And then, like Alec is saying, you cut to other people, all the other guys watching her going, holy crap, she's eating that guy.
And
because they're not part of her spiritual moment.
Guess what comic books allow you to do? Literally show you something.
Put him right there. He's talking. I'm pointing at Iron Man. Sorry. I'm getting better at this pointing thing. Did you notice in Book Club I was pointing at the right direction almost every time?
I'm trying to point at you right now, but it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah, I'm getting better at it.
So yeah, meh.
So I guess the question we've already kind of answered is, would you get issue 3?
No.
Is that what's the publisher for that?
It is Boom Studios.
Boom Studios. Okay. I will say that for me, I'm probably going to say no. I would not get issue 3. However, the asterisk would be if I show up at my shop the week that this next issue drops and it's as slow a week as it was today, and I see it there and it's got a cool cover, I might change my mind.
It does have a cool cover.
It does. I think the character covers are fun. I think the way they're doing the character. So this is the next one, right? This one. Yeah. If
Tom
they
said, sounds like it needs more charts, timelines in their own symbol language.
Oh Jesus. For me, if it's a really slow week, I tend to just glance a little bit more at books I haven't tried yet and try to grab one. Like this week there were only 4 comics that I ended up buying. Last week there were so many that I was putting stuff back. So it would depend on 1 month from now what the other books on the shelf are.
Yeah, sure. I won't go that far. You picked this up?
You bet I did.
Oh man, how gorgeous is that? Oh, but then DC goes and does this.
I was so bummed about that. Yeah, you're the villain. You're the villain.
But
did you read it?
No, I'm not currently reading Catwoman. This is strictly a cover.
It's the start of a new storyline, so you can kind of get in on it.
Maybe I will. But it's already
Mirka Andolfo is writing that and doing the art. And it's a storyline that's supposed to end right where Joelle Jones is going to come back. I'm super pumped. Joelle Jones is coming back doing interior story and cover again.
How good is she as an artist?
She's epic.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And yes, Chris Barrett, you mentioned it in Unlimited. I have a Joelle Jones obsession, and I'm dealing with it with therapy.
Rightfully so. I've noticed lately that a lot of my favorite current artists are females, and I hate to sound surprised by that, but in the world of comics, that's unusual.
It is absolutely unusual.
Stevie Hans, Jen Bartlett, Joelle Jones, Becky Cloonan, they're all to me, some of the best people working today. And
I give even more respect to somebody that's going to be doing cover A, interior art, and writing the story. There's even more leeway given to somebody that's willing to put that much into a book.
Yeah, Jenny Frison.
Well, Jenny Frison, I feel like I don't give her much respect because I feel like, for me, I put Jenny Frison very near to Art Germ because she's mainly doing covers, and sometimes the covers have nothing to do with the story on the inside.
Sure.
And I'm like, yeah, that's a beautiful Wonder Woman holding a sword. I wonder what next week will be. It's probably going to be Wonder Woman holding a sword again.
Jenny Frison and Art Germ are illustrators.
Yes.
So they are a different breed.
Truly. And for me, there are Jenny Frison covers that I own that I'm like, that is incredible. And there are others that I see and go, God damn, what happened there? Like that one, the one when she's getting ice cream with Supergirl and smiling and the creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they can't all be club bangers.
They can't. And I do like Jenny Frison a lot. I just wish there was connective tissue to the book a little bit more. But you could say the same about Art Germ. I personally think the 5 that he did or 6 that he did to start the Catwoman run were lights out. And they fit in the sense that there was a deconstruction of who Catwoman was and her past.
Literally
kind of mining. What's that?
Literally a deconstruction on one of the covers.
One of them, yeah, with Batman inside, right? That was cool.
So great.
Yes, I don't think that's quite what I had in mind, Chris, but I appreciate your positivity there.
Yeah, I mean, you can have an obsession with someone without it being like weird, Adam.
Yeah, and on top of, I will say a little bit of what made it better for me was meeting her in person and having her be like super nice, super friendly, you know, take pictures with the girls, and was just like, yeah, just too cool.
So, yes.
So I'm putting it away. I'm sealing it up. Bam.
Done and done.
16 years ago, I finished watching Lord of the Rings when the big blackout happened. Ooh.
Well,
I will say,
finished.
I read Lord of the Rings to my wife on our honeymoon, and we finished Fellowship, read all of Two Towers, and then we finished Return of the King after we got back. We were reading a little bit every night.
Bear Island says funny, and he said Stephanie laughed too.
If you guys don't know what Bear is talking about, today Comic Head 84 made a contest entry for my contest that's running through the end of the month, and in it he gifted Bear Island a human being, a slave, if you wanted to think of it that way.
Not in this country anymore.
Well, she's French. Maybe that's okay.
I'm pretty sure in France they never did that.
So he gifted Bear Island Stephanie Hans, the artist. And I love the quote. I think he said something along the lines of, once she gets over being kidnapped. Anytime you start a sentence that way, I'm going to lean in a little bit just to kind of hear where this is going. And that definitely made me laugh. She's not a slave. She's a courtier. That's one way to think about it. So it was very entertaining, and that's what Bear Island is running on right now. And I definitely shout out to 84. If you don't know about my contest, Alec has made a video, and I've got all of them in a playlist on my channel, so you can watch some of them, get an idea of what's going on. If you want to make your own video, boom, you're in the contest along with these other awesome guys like Chris Barrett in the chat.
I did not gift any human beings.
No. You did not create a slave trade in fantasy form. But you also did not officially want to be entered, even though you could have put somebody else's name in your place. Like you could have said, I want to gift, Sam's Tangled Web or whatever. You still have that option if you want to put somebody else's name in the running for you.
No, they can make their own video.
Lazy asses.
They're going to ride the coattails of my hard work.
Yeah, right. So mine's the best, says Chris Barrett. Chris Barrett did an all-silent video. Awesome, awesome job. It's not easy to pull that kind of stuff off. So shout out to Chris. And again, there's a whole playlist of them. If you missed any, you can always cruise through to see like who's done what, and very entertaining. Put me in, Alec, because I don't do contest vids, but I like prizes. Don't we all?
All right, DS, you're it.
Greatest prize I've ever won, right here. God Country 9.6 signed. Love that story. And yeah, what a gift.
How do I do? How do I point?
I'm over here. Not that way. Other way. You're pointing at the duck? Oh, you're pointing at the greatest prize you've ever won.
No, I was trying to point at you. Wait, I still can't do it.
I'm the greatest prize you ever won, baby. Oh man. This is
Miss Sling said, did I put my producer in a box for making mistakes like Mark?
Cat Ren does often do such a thing. I won an impromptu gift card from Tony Standers, and I won Metarog's room naming contest. Yeah, TJ has been gifted quite a lot in all the videos for this. I don't know if you've noticed that. A lot of DeLoreans, and
you won't accept real gifts in real life. So
the TARDIS was a good way to like get around the DeLorean. I like that.
Yeah, here's a secret. I don't have a producer. I was talking to nobody.
You were talking to the lizard.
Yeah, there's a lizard on my wall. I was just making eye contact with him.
Yeah.
And he kept hitting his face bar.
Yeah. Are you eyeballing me?
If you don't get that joke, You should watch my videos more.
I think the food replicator is an undervalued item in nerd culture. I just want to throw that out there. I
would not have gone to the grocery store tonight if I had a food replicator.
Right. In my example, it was the give it to Bueller because he likes his coffee and he'd make all different kinds, and the food replicator hooks him up. And Chris Barrett gave it to TJ.
You can get an eggnog latte year round.
Right. Do it. So that was pretty much it for us. We didn't really have a topic of debate because, obviously we had 2 issues to do tonight. I know that next week we are a little bit unusual, and if Alec wants to do a show Wednesday, I'm sorry to say I have to do something I loathe doing. So I will be suffering as penance for not being here next Wednesday. My brothers force me to play fantasy football every year. And I really dislike the game of football, and the only thing I like less than football is fantasy football. Like, now I've got to pretend to care about the characters on people on other teams. Look, I even call them characters. I just don't care. I don't like it.
Fantasy football, lol, nerd.
Yeah, it is legitimately like Dungeons and Dragons for sports junkies. I just don't like it. I'm sorry, Matt. And clearly you're a big fan. I just don't like football. You're a Texas guy, Matt. So football is born into you. I'm a California guy. We didn't cheer for our football teams enough to even make them stay in California very long. So So for me, my brothers make me play. We're doing our draft next Wednesday at 7:30. So I will be sitting in some noisy sports bar, picking players I've never heard of for a team I don't care about, instead of sitting here talking comic books with that guy, which is what I want to be doing instead. So I apologize for that. But I got a
pro tip for you. Fantasy football pro tip. Just pick kickers.
The lonesome kicker. That's a Adam Sandler song, if you guys don't know. Shout out to when Adam Sandler was funny. So I'm not good at fantasy football. I usually lose my league. I think I owe $20 for coming in dead last year. You play fantasy football, you're dead to me. Dude, my brothers make me play, TJ. It is legitimately my least favorite night in every year. John has a fantasy surfing league, a real sport. Hey, I would rather pick fantasy surfing than fantasy football. But that's just me. Boy Who Had 7 says he's going to help me pick. That's awesome. There's only 6 teams in my fantasy football league. So every team is pretty well stacked with famous people if you like football. I don't know half of them because I don't like football. So all of this to say, Alec might do a show next Wednesday night, or he might not.
I'll leave you guys hanging.
But for sure, did we pick Tuesday or Thursday next week?
Oh, we did not.
Did you have a preference?
I do not.
So Tuesday next week, we're going to do a special book club where we look back. Now that we're a little over halfway through the year, we're going to do a mid-year review show. We're going to look back at 2019, the year thus far, pick out some of our favorite stories, covers, artists, writers, and let you know about what we feel like is happening here in 2019.
It's going to be a very positive show. It's going to feel weird.
It's going to be odd, something different. The joy equation will be there.
This is me smiling. Am I doing it right?
This is the happy face. I do the happy face. Yes. We have natural resting bitch face. Are men allowed to have RIB?
No, I think it's a sexist thing.
Okay.
Hey, you know what? You'd be pretty if you smiled more.
Yeah, that's fair. So Alec won't be on the show. It's fair.
Let's go. That was my D-bag impression, by the way.
You nailed it. It was solid. So you can look forward to that next week. We will be shouting praise. We will be recommending good comics, the stories that we really love, and things that maybe you might have missed this year. And looking ahead with some level of positivity at what the second half of the year might bring. Mostly because there's not a lot that we really are excited about coming out on Wednesday.
There it is. There's the negativity.
Just tuck it in there at the end. So that being said, as Rod would always say, Alec, do you have stuff coming up on your channel that you want people to know about?
I'm doing a little guest spot on Boy Who Had Seven's channel this Friday at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Should be a good time.
I'm going to be on that show too.
Really?
What?
And I just found out who my sub-in replacement
opponent
is going to be, and I'm very excited. I don't know if I'm allowed to say.
Yep, Matt just shouted it out in the chat. Friday night, we're going to be on with the Boy Who Had Seven, doing something new, something different, a little sort of community shout-out / competition show.
It feels like a game show, and I'm very excited because I've always wanted to be on a game show.
Definitely game show style, and should be a lot of fun, a lot of great comic community folk. And you just know with the Boy Who Had Seven, it's going to be just a bunch of fun.
And Sammy Strikes Back, who just joined the chat, might make a guest appearance.
Hello, Sammy. Yeah, you don't want to. You listen to this guy all the time. Why are you here right now? This is your chance to get a break.
Yeah.
My wife's always like, I don't really need to listen to your show, do I?
I don't know why anyone listens to me.
Right? I made my wife listen to the last Lost show I did, just because not only does Luke have an amazing British accent, but he shared some really cool things that he made himself. And so she got super into it because of that. So that was the first time she watched one of my shows in a really long time.
So she was interested in seeing someone else, but certainly not you.
Oh, of course. No, yeah, that's literally exactly the truth. Yeah. This British guy was like, check the box. Done.
Yeah. Well, if I had a posh British accent, maybe more people would watch me too.
Right?
Right.
Now we're really coming up with ideas here. Success all around. So that's it for tonight, folks. I have a crap ton of things coming up. I'm going to be on constantly. I know you all missed me. I wasn't on Monday. I wasn't on Sunday. I popped in on a show on Tuesday. Now it's going to get crazy. It's going to get busy. I'm going to be doing, I think, 2 shows on Friday, a show Saturday, a show Sunday. It's going to be busy. It's going to be exciting. I'm doing 2 of those movie review shows we did a couple weeks back. Scheduling has been a bit challenging with some of our guest hosts. So I think Saturday night, we're going to have Carlito Classico, and Perry and I are going to be reviewing 3 movies that are streaming on Amazon, that if you have Amazon Prime and you're looking for good movies, we're going to try to load up your queue with stuff to watch. And then Sunday, it should be Fire Guy Ryan's return, and we're going to do 3 movies from Netflix that you can throw on your queue there as well. And then Friday, we're doing AOK Book Club, and Biggie Shack is coming on my channel for the very first time.
Oh, hope the girls are going to be asleep.
Right? Mute the sound on his mic and plug your family's ears, because we're going to have Biggie Shack coming on hardcore. But the truth is, we gifted Biggie Die, the trade, because he got an amazing book from Bear Island Comics, and he'd never read Die at all. He got an autographed, I think, 9/4 slab, beautiful book. And Perry and I wanted to gift him the trade, make him read it, and then he's going to come on and tell us his first thoughts, his initial thoughts from this book. So that'll be, I think, 4 o'clock Pacific on Friday, and then 5 o'clock Pacific, we'll be jumping over to the Boy Who Had Seven and doing his show.
Heck yeah.
The train show should definitely be on Netflix. It's called Snowpiercer, and it should definitely be there unless they just pulled it here at the beginning of August. But I think our show was in August, and I streamed it. So you should definitely check Misexplained. It should still be there, Snowpiercer.
It's really, I like that movie a lot.
Yeah, it's a cool movie, and visually very original kind of style. And again, based on a graphic novel. You can read the graphic novel if you want.
I don't do that.
Yeah, no, we're not big readers on this book club show. And thank you very much for coming by, everybody. Rod the Rican, we missed you. We hope to get you on here again soon. Hope you feel better soon as well, buddy. He's got his shows on Saturday and Sunday. His comic book community shout out is Sunday. His let's see, what's the show he does Saturday is crud. Saturday.
Coast to
Jeffrey,
Coast.
help me.
Coast to Coast.
Coast to Coast Comics. Thanks. Sorry, my bad. Coast to Coast Comics with Rod the Rican and Jeffrey is on Saturday. So there's lots of good Rod the Rican. I hope he's all well and better by then. Thank you, everybody, for coming by in the chat. And, don't turn your back on the ocean.
That's great advice.
That's your line. Right. Sorry. He's over there. God, I messed it up. Right at the end. Thanks, everybody, for coming.
Bye.